Oof, belonging. That's a big one for me. Something I constantly crave in my life, and something I fight at the same time as well. I want to belong with people. I crave that connection, but again, I just want to be myself, and I'm going to do whatever I want because that's who I am. So there's this constant battle, but that craving for human connection always ends up winning out. So yeah, I grew up in India, in a completely different culture, and there's so many things and places and people that I just felt so completely connected to in that life. And it was such an incredible change moving back to Canada as a 10-year-old, and trying to fit into North American culture, a culture that I didn't understand, I didn't really know much about. And now, 30 years on, living in Canada, I feel like I'm slowly starting to gain that connection and find who I am in this culture and find that feeling of belonging. So let me tell you a little bit about how all of that started. Blonde hair flowing in the wind, dirty bare feet gliding across the dirt and moss, dust and sweat filling my nostrils. I push my wiry little body to go faster and faster. The crashing sound of bending and breaking branches above me got closer and closer. The blood pumping through my body was as hot as the sun above my head. Time slowed as I made it up the last few rough rock steps and onto the safety of the porch. The screeching rhesus monkeys held back at the edge of the yard. A smile crept onto my face. Success. One more day, I didn't need to pull out my slingshot to defend myself from these pests. The fear and excitement flowing through my veins slowed and transmuted into peace and contentment. Time for a snack, said my mom. Safe. Standing in front of the living room window with a peanut butter and banana chapati roll-up in my left hand and a glass bottle of Maza mango juice in my right, I stared off into the afternoon haze. The rhododendrons and pine trees lazily swayed in the breeze. In that moment, everything in my world was okay. It was more than okay. I thought I was Indian. I knew I looked different, and sometimes people treated me different, but I felt accepted and loved. I grew up in a culture that often values family and community, a culture that cared about me, a culture that would welcome you or me or anyone into their home 5 minutes after meeting you and feed you the last meal in their cupboard. Nonetheless, it was mayhem trying to move through this beautiful swath of humanity, navigating the throngs of people, slipping and sliding, fitting through the holes that appeared. No space went unused. The throngs of people moved like water, and we just had to go with the flow. A beautiful dark blue 1968 Royal Enfield motorcycle was the way we've moved through the world. I would ride on the gas tank of this magical growling beast, my little fingers wrapped tightly around the steel handlebars, my big white helmet swaying to and fro like one of those dashboard bobbleheads. My dad, with his strong hands on the controls, my mother sitting behind him with my little sister in a backpack on her back. This precious mass of my little family, so exposed in this fast-flowing world. One blisteringly hot day, we were zipping along through the countryside from village to village. Every corner we went around, a new smell or sight would fill my mind and ignite my curiosity. With horn blaring, we would pass slow-moving ox carts with tottering loads of sugarcane. Giant trucks with their horns blaring would zoom past us with maybe only a foot or two to spare on either side. We would go left and then back right. There were no lanes on the road, no rules, but somehow everything just worked. For the most part, anyways. We came around a corner and the sound of the bang reverberated in my helmet. Shreds of the blown front tire flew by my face. "Hold on," my dad yelled as he guided the now uncontrollable roaring monster off the road into a grassy field. The four of us flew off the bike in a synchronized slow motion crash dance. The smell of rubber and grass and gasoline assaulted my nostrils immediately and simultaneously. Before I knew what had happened, I was being picked up and dusted off by a smiling stranger. The blue Royal Enfield was quickly wheeled away to a nearby mechanic, somehow completely unscathed, other than having a mild run-in with a patch of rogue stinging nettles. My family and I were pronounced healthy by a local doctor who'd also come running. In less than 5 minutes, we were all sipping chai and eating samosas at a nearby shop. Everyone nearby crowded around and listened intently while I reenacted the crash with my little red dinky car. Everything had happened and nothing had happened. We were taken care of. That's just how it was. Maybe it had a little to do with the fact that we were different, or maybe not. Maybe it was because we were as Indian as the rest of them. Regardless of what had happened, I just knew that things were okay. This beautiful and connected existence came to a crashing halt. I stepped off the plane in Vancouver and walked out into a completely different world. The feeling of belonging quickly faded away. Unsmiling faces refused to look me in the eye. People sat in front of huge TVs and didn't talk to each other. I didn't understand this way of living. In the small Vancouver Island town that became my new home, I blended in easily, yet the kids still looked at me funny, like I was an alien, like I was different. I didn't understand. I missed my slingshot and the monkeys and the smells and the sounds and the smiling faces of home. Still gets me choked up thinking about that. All of those smells and sounds are so close in my memory, and it's lovely. Anyway, thanks for listening.